Have you ever thought of living somewhere else? Has this pandemic made you want to live somewhere else?
Yeah. This pandemic hasn't done it, but
Really?
a lot of just
Before it has?
life experience. Yeah.
Really? But it's hard being in show business to live somewhere else. Now
is.
it's a little easier with what we do, but it's tough, man. I battle back and forth. Like me and my girl in 2 weeks go to Austin to look at houses. She's never been there. We go look because we've been thinking about moving there. And then it's like I'm talking to Theo and Brian. Obviously, there's a million moving parts for me to go there because it's not like I just have one show. If it was just showtime, just below the belt, I could get up and go.
Yeah.
We can shoot food trucks from there. We can fly fighters out there. Well, Chin and Cat, we'll figure it out. But it's like I have King and the Sting. I got Fighter and the Kid. So there's all these moving pieces, and everyone's down. But then when you look at the logistics of it, it gets hairy, man.
Here's
and then my thing is, it's like, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm like, is it because right now it's just like LA's on fire? Like LA's so extreme.
Yeah.
But when it's not on fire, it's amazing. New York's extreme. When it's not on fire, it's amazing.
The real problem with Los Angeles, not Southern California, LA, the real downside to it is that the perception is absolutely not the reality.
Meaning?
And that you get turned off, all of us do. We get turned off by the superficial nature of the entertainment industry, and everyone's just worried about image and they're not real substantial people, and there's no culture and the traffic and the overpopulation and all this. And that is undoubtedly real, and there are definitely people, I mean, the entertainment industry kind of lives and breathes here, that are just consumed with the industry. They don't really give a shit about actual human interaction, and they don't care about people's feelings. But in the 11 million or so people that live in LA County, like 0.08% work in the fucking entertainment industry. Yep. And I always use the Laker game as an example. The first 3 rows of it at a Laker game, they are those douchebags. They are those guys with the sunglasses on indoors with a chick that's like 45 years younger than them, and but the reality is there's 18,000 other seats in a Laker game, and it's fucking mechanics,
and that's LA,
and truck drivers and cops and fucking normal people. Yep. And the image that is given is that all of Los Angeles is these
first 3
scummy
rows.
dudes. And by the way, 99% of those shitbags aren't from LA.
No.
You know, every goddamn guy I talk to in the entertainment industry is like, pizza's better in New York where I'm from. In Boston, you can get yourself a nice fucking hero sandwich. And I'm like, oh really? That's all you're gonna do? I just like, I'm the worst. I'd be the worst superhero ever because I'm the least ambitious person. If I had fuck you money, if I was Jeff Bezos, all I do is buy a gigantic office building in LA and just plaster it with nothing but Dodger shit and like Mr. Cartoon graffiti and everything. Just like make it LA centric and force every fucking asshole who gets off a fucking plane from Pittsburgh and Florida all over the country, and the first thing they do is talk about how much better their hometown is. That's all LA is.
I know.
In reality, though, you're this much of the rest of the city has this unbelievable vibrant culture that is not really looked at. It's just like 10 years ago, everyone in the world looked at New Jersey as being the dudes on Jersey Shore.
Yes.
Like
or Sopranos.
Like, yeah.
They get a bad rap. Have you been to Jersey?
I lived in Jersey.
Jersey's,
for a while.
You have? I didn't know that.
Jersey is one of the most educated places in this country. It's filled with some of the most nice, thoughtful people in the world. And yeah, sure, there's a bunch of Guidos and a bunch of, like absolute
But again, that's the
savages.
0.01%. The majority of the people, some of the best people I know, Brian Daly, like a ton of people live in Jersey.
And, my wife gets really concerned about, like, what are we going to do? We can't live in LA
with
because
kids?
of fill in the blank. Yeah. And
kids gets dicey.
Don't.
And you're in Venice, right?
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Venice is dangerous. But I always go like, look.
There's human shit everywhere, Mike.
Fall for the trap. Don't take the bait, because you, as an actress, are surrounded by this segment of it that gives it the bad rap. These people that are, and I've watched my wife, who's successful in acting, I've watched her get fucking decimated by people who are just so callous.
What do you mean? Like agents and like casting?
They're just mean people. They don't care. They're not nice people. Like,
because they don't.
I don't think that's a stereotype. There's far too many people in politics and in show business that lose sight of just basic courtesy, and they are not nice. You know?
Well, that's everything, Mike. Sports. I mean, go have a talk with the, I don't know now the matchmakers. They're a lot better, but go have a talk with Dana White, man, or anyone who runs a business or they have these decisions to make. They just don't. It's almost like they don't view human life the same as others, you know? Because I think they're just like, on to the next. It's just what's next. And they're like, they have shark eyes. It's just all black. You're like, what? How the fuck did you get this way? I've met with agents here where it's the same way. It's like, how?
You wonder, though, is there value in it? In a job like being a politician, being an
cold-blooded, brother.
Being a studio exec, maybe there's actual benefits to being a sociopath.
Well, there's a reason why they're like that. Yeah. It's just a bummer. It's heartbreaking.
It is a bummer.
Dude, go to the NFL. When you get to the NFL, man, I mean, these coaches, it's like, what? I don't give a fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Catch the ball. Next. And you're like, oh, God. Or a GM or a head coach.
At the same time, you got to understand, like, even compared to most people who make shit tons of money, the pressure and the amount of money that other people have riding on you in your performance, I kind of understand where there's probably isn't any room for concerns about people's emotions. If a guy or a gal's not holding it up on the field, you're gone. I mean,
same in Hollywood though. If a guy or a gal isn't holding it up, or if they're not right for the part, they're not gonna be like, they're just like, next, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, look, it is a meritocracy in that sense where, kind of talent dictates. What I don't like about especially sports is a little bit easier because
sports is black and white.
It doesn't matter if you're best friends with the coach or if you're a nice guy or if you played the political game behind the scenes. If your fucking shooting percentage is 16%, you're not going to make it in the NBA. If you hit 183 for 3 seasons in the NBA, in Major League, you're done.
Acting's all...
There is like this thing, and I've talked about it with so many of my friends with that, I go, just keep your chin up, because it's very frustrating for someone to know, not to think, but to know that there's other things at play that are preventing you from being as successful as you want to be besides hard work and drive. Like when you were really driven, when you're hardworking, when you devote yourself and there's still other factors that get in the way, that's really, really fucking frustrating. And I know life's not fair, but that sucks. At least you could be a gigantic cocksucker, but if you're fucking awesome in sports, no one's stopping you. No one's going to prevent, unless the extremes. I mean,
well, acting is a little bit like baseball, where you're going to go about 3 for 10.
Yeah.
And if you go 3 for 10, you're fucking killing it.
Yeah.
You can go about 1 out of 10.
I also really worry about how, what was really exciting and what made me fall in love with movies in particular was that when I was first getting to the age where I could appreciate the idea of artwork and cinema and going and seeing that there's subtext and that someone put a lot of effort into making a piece of art to be observed. I was 14, 15, 16. And that was the early to mid 90s. And there was just this explosion of amazing independent cinema. And I'm starting as a 12-year-old, I'm seeing Reservoir Dogs. And as I'm graduating high school, I'm watching Boogie Nights and stuff. And I'm thinking oh my God, I really appreciate this idea that people can have amazing creative feelings and commit themselves to it and present me this. With the way the studios are working now, and now the agencies are getting into creating content, the UTAs, the WMEs, now they're making their own projects. They're just going to stack the deck with their own clients, and then everything's packaged. And I feel like the guy or gal who just has a great idea and a belief in themselves is getting washed away. So that's what really bugs me about it. But I honestly do believe there's maybe I'm overly optimistic, but I have a real love affair with the city of Los Angeles.
I know, that's why I'm asking, because I'm on the fence. I go in a week or two to go look at Texas, and as I'm getting closer, I find myself just like I do. We wrote a list, pros and cons, and as I'm going through the cons, starting to build up of leaving LA.
But my love affair is real, and I do see all the. I always say New York, Chicago, Miami, they are an amazing Marvel comic book movie. You know what you're getting when you go in there, and it is amazing. You go and you go to New York City, and you're like, it's going to be the Statue of Liberty, and I'm going to go see Central Park, and it's going to be over the top. Times Square is going to blow me away. And you land and you go there, and you're like, whoa, this is the center of existence. So New York City is amazing. It's South Beach. You're like, what the fuck? Look at all these beautiful people. LA is like a film noir. you kind of don't know. You have this idea of what you're going to see, but then you sit down and you're like, was that it?
You don't know.
Kind of flat. But then upon further inspection, you see what goes on in the shadows, and you're like, oh, this city has so much to offer. It doesn't blow you away because you go down to like the Walk of Fame or something. You know, if you're a tourist, you go to Walk of Fame, you're like, what the fuck? And then you go to Disneyland, you're like, okay, I guess it. But if you don't go to like the graffiti walls in Venice, if you don't go see like the lowrider, the lowriders on Whittier Boulevard, like the vibrant blood of the city, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's better than anywhere in the whole world. The culture, the modern art and the street art and the kind of like the underbelly of Los Angeles is beautiful, but it's very hard to see. It's not something that is. It doesn't hit.
No, not everyone's going to tell you about it. But there's so many different spots in California that are just fan-fucking-tastic, man. From Venice to Marina, Santa Monica, Malibu, the Palisades.
It's too far apart, though. Everything's too far apart in LA. That sucks. That does suck.
It's far apart when the world's back to normal and there's traffic. Yeah. Like right now, it's not bad.
It's not that bad.
Like right now, anywhere you want to go, it's like, you want to go downtown, it's 18 minutes. You want to go to the valley, it's 18 minutes. Everything's 18 minutes. Like, can you imagine if it's like this all the time?
I do have that, like a severe passion. I'm Mexican. I love to drive. I love cars. Everything fits. I love the Dodgers. I love the Lakers. Everything fits.
You're the most LA guy I know.
I love
in a good way, meaning like
right.
LA. Like not Hollywood LA.
But I love a lot of places. And I've thought about it, like, I'd love to live in like Midland, Texas. I'd love to live in Nashville. I'd love to live in outside of Atlanta.
I know.
I'd love to live in somewhere in the, like, I was
you ever
thinking
been to
about Cleveland. I love Cleveland. I was conceived in Cleveland.
Oh yeah.
My parents thought that was where they were going to live, and then like when my mom was pregnant with me, my dad got
Cleveland's dope. Washington D.C. I could live in D.C.
DC's great, but DC almost you deal with the same problem. My closest buddy lives in DC. He complains about the same kind of problem that you deal with the entertainment industry in
politics
in LA, is that the political system it's not just something that's there. It bleeds into the fabric of everything you do, even if you're not in politics. So I've thought of it, but I've never really been to places in America, and I'm admittedly Pollyannish about this country. I'm openly like super pro America. I love this country.
Me too.
And maybe it's because I've had the chance to go to really shitty places. I don't think enough people and I'm not saying there's not tremendous flaws in how we do things in this country. I'm not saying that there aren't things that desperately need to be changed.
No, but I'll kick you in the dick if you talk shit about America.
If you go to Saudi Arabia, if you've been there, if you go to fucking parts of South America, you're like, oh, America's so awesome.
This right now?
Yeah.
Watch your tone.
Okay. What's going to happen? What are you going to do? Use some of that boxing you've been doing?
Don't you fucking disrespect.